Welcome back to the Mixed Up Mystics podcast. This is the last one of our season, and our hearts are so full when we think back about everything we've been able to share together over this last year and what you guys mean to us and what these conversations mean to us. And we just really love getting to do this with you. The conversation today is called A Hard Truth About Christianity. It's not nearly as daunting as it sounds. There is some humor involved. So anyway, we're thrilled to have this conversation with you, and let's get started.
The Misfit Mystics podcast is a presentation of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for our corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners. We invite you, fellow Misfits, to join the conversation with text, emails, or just the messages in the comment section below. As always, you can share this podcast with anyone you think would get it by sending the link below. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Mixed Up Mystics podcast.
You got to start that one
I gotta
over.
start over?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right. Fellow Mystics, what is up? Welcome to the Mixed Up Mystics podcast.
Very nice.
Thank you. I am joined, as always, by my co-conspirator and co-host, Anjanette. Hello, Anjanette.
Hey, happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so
happy
much.
Holidays.
Happy Holiday-giving-mas to you all.
Holiday-giving-mas, yes.
Happy Holiday-giving-mas. Emphasis on the muss now.
I like that.
Yeah, we're so glad to have another episode of the podcast. We're going to be talking about a very difficult truth about
fun.
Christianity.
Okay.
It's an easy conversation. But before we get into all that, hey, I wanted to say we had a terrific, fantastic, wonderful Trimmers Live, last one of the year, last Friday night here at the Loft.
It was super fun.
In our lair. We did it. It was a great crowd, and it was one of those nights where, you know, you never know what goes on for somebody during the week and all that stuff. But like nearly every person that was there was ready to get their frolicking on. I mean, they came with a Yule in their heart.
They were ready to have fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so you helped us with a live Christmas Carol sing-along, which was fantastic.
They sang with their hearts.
Oh man. And then you did this one little awkward thing for everybody.
Wow, I did.
What was the song we were doing at that moment?
Was it We Wish You or no?
No.
It was, I don't know. I made them sing to each other.
Yeah, so you had, you know, maybe, I don't know how many, there were 40 plus people, 50 people there. And so you had the different row, like the front row turned to face the second row and the third row and vice versa.
Yes.
And so each line was facing somebody, and then you had them sing this song to each other. And
just a part of it.
It was funny.
Were they weirded out?
They had to be brave, and some people were kind of looking past the people in front of them and just trying not to make eye contact and all that stuff. But
I love it. I think it was We Wish You a Merry Christmas.
I think it was some figgy pudding. I think you were demanding figgy pudding from your neighbor or something like that.
Oh, that happens. Yeah. I mean, nobody understands that line. I guess if you're British.
I guess.
They have all sorts of puddings and
it's
things.
An origin thing. It could be that could probably be updated. We could probably do something else. But
oh, that's funny.
Speaking of Christmas, it is near the end of the year, and you may be thinking to yourselves right now, what do I do with all this money? What do I do? What do I do with all this
I'm
wealth
sure that's
that I have?
exactly what they're thinking.
And let me just suggest something that will benefit you for your end of the year giving, which is a tax deductible gift to the Dreamers Coalition at dreamerscoalition.com. And it's something that will help us. We just are today getting ready to deliver all the kid packs, all the gift packs that have been built by the volunteers to kids who are in need and may not have much for Christmas this year. The teachers kind of help us to identify those kids. And we had a huge night on Monday night. God, what a marathon it was.
The wrapping party was, man, thanks to all you guys who came out. That was amazing. We had to wrap 120 gift packages with candy treats as a second deal.
It was like books
a lot of
and colored pencils and art supplies and
yes.
gloves and and cocoa packs and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Man,
for sure.
It was envious. But it's quite a thing. It's quite a thing to pull off. And so really want to thank all the volunteers, all you that are listening now that were part of that.
Yes. And those of you that give to Dreamers Coalition to help support that was really awesome.
And so we'll do that. We
deliver that today.
I will tell you guys that this might very well be the last podcast of the year. Just looking at the calendar, just looking at.
Well, I mean, it is December 17th.
Yeah. So if you find yourself jonesing wanting or in desperate need of a podcast, let's just suggest you go back to the archives. Go back and listen to some of these other episodes. Start at one and work your whole way back through and enjoy it because it's all meaningful conversations.
Yes. And there's also the Dreamers Live podcast as well as the Got a Minute mini podcast.
Yes.
So
and it's, maybe never more important than to go back and listen to the Got a Minute mini podcast because in there is a podcast on the survival guide, the holiday survival guide.
That's a good one.
And it's well worth a listen to. And there's a great Christmas song from Ann Jeanette on there. It's a cool Christmas song that even though it's modern, is kind of built like one of the classic Christmas songs that we grew up with,
that's
like
cool.
a Ray Conniff song. So anyway, go back and listen to that.
While you're cleaning out your closets and de-decorating after Christmas, not to be unfestive yet, but listen to the podcast.
Right.
That's what I do.
Or listen to a podcast while you're wrapping presents and all that kind of stuff. It'll make you cheery and bright. So yeah.
It's good.
Speaking of podcasts, this podcast, I was, how occasionally you'll have a revelation or an insight for yourself personally, like something kind of just clicks for you or, you get this moment. And so
I like those.
Some are better and more glorious than others and some are just difficult. And so I was, I got up early. I was trying to get my day right and doing some meditation and praying and reading, and as we're all want to do.
Was this today? Or?
This was a couple days ago.
A couple days ago, okay.
And I was kind of struggling with something. The holidays give you extra opportunities for grace
forgiveness,
and forgiveness and challenges. It's beautiful and gorgeous, but it's a lot. It's concentrated.
It's just a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're just around a lot.
So I was thinking about a scenario, and I was thinking this and that. And
were you having a fantasy conversation?
I might have been.
Yeah.
For listeners, the fantasy conversation is the conversation you have in your mind with someone, in which you are right and they are wrong, and yet then they finally bow to your superior intellect, and they end the conversation by saying, "You know what? You're right. I was wrong, and thank you for bringing that to my attention."
You're having the conversation in your mind, and you're saying both parts for the people.
And then I said, yeah.
It's funny. I'm reading a book right now. I like one of my traditions is to get myself
I got myself
a Christmas book because it gets chaotic. And I like sort of historical fiction or something that's like a meaningful Christmas book. It doesn't have to be spiritual, but so the one I'm reading right now, and that's something that I can do every night before I go to bed, and it kind of reminds me of the season. So there's one I'm reading on like the making. It's about Charles Dickens and the making of the famous Christmas Carol. It's fictionalized based on some of the history of the time. But he would walk when he was thinking through things, like miles in London. Wow. And I could see you doing that. And and he said, and in my mind, I was going to it. And that's just what made me laugh because the other sentences above that were basically saying he was working through a fantasy conversation. In my mind, I was going to it with this person.
Related but unrelated. Friends, let me give you these two things since this is our Christmas episode-ish. Though the topic may not be very Christmassy.
Oh, thanks.
But if you are kind of burned out on Christmas music, let me first recommend that you listen to Ann Jeanette's Christmas album. It's fantastic.
Oh, man, stop.
And then also one of my great joys.
New songs, though,
Yeah, one of my great joys at Christmas time is to try and find any kind of rare, unusual Christmas music because I get tired of the same six songs.
You're king of the obscure.
Yeah, and so we, on the badgering of my daughter, we finally got an actual subscription to Spotify instead of just listening. And so I typed in there rare Christmas tunes, and there's a playlist. I think it's called Vintage Christmas Songs.
Oh yeah,
it's got a little black cat on it with a red Christmas bulb on the icon, and it is fantastic. It's every genre all mixed into one.
A lot of Motown. It's just
some
really
blues stuff, but there's some great songs. Yeah. So if you're in that same boat, listen to one of those two options, and it will really help you. But
appreciate the tip. Yeah. And get a Christmas book.
So I was sitting there thinking about the situation, and in the chair in the morning, and I was thinking about this and how I didn't really feel up to or want to do the right thing in that scenario.
Right.
And then it kind of hit me that at some point with Christianity, you're just going to have to do the hard work.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to do the difficult thing. And it's interesting because we grew up, obviously in the 80s and 90s and big church stuff and all that. And I can think about people now that were with us for, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And in that 10 or 15 years, there really wasn't much change in them. they would just give you that they were angry people or mean people or treated people poorly.
Yeah.
And then they would just tell you, I'm sorry, I just have a short fuse.
Yeah, this is just how I am.
This is just who I am.
Yeah.
I am just quick to anger. I'm just this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they were people who, might end up getting responsibilities in the church function in a way so that they didn't have to be a part of what was going on in the church life.
Yeah.
So they would hide in children's ministry.
Yeah, we called them kingdoms. They would have their own kingdoms. And, some of the motivation was right, whether they, ran the church coffee shop or the nursery. This
food
was
pantry
did all that. But
bookstore.
A lot of times you would find, not always, but a lot of times you would find they kind of had their own thing going on back there. And there was,
they didn't feel like they had to subscribe to everything else that was going on
it
or
was
challenge themselves.
Yeah, so like, and we all can do that at times. Like, well, I give this and I volunteer this much and I do this so I can still be an ass.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly. Yeah, I forget what they called that in the
can't do that.
Reformation thing. But, there was a thing that you could kind of do. It'll come to you in a minute. It might come to me.
Okay.
There's a thing you could do to kind of pay for your sins.
Penance?
Not penance. No.
Oh, that's Catholic.
It was like okay, I'm going to give this donation to kind of cover myself, cover my sins.
It's not recompense. I'll have to think about it.
It'll come back in a minute in a flash. But,
okay.
I'm embarrassed. I can't remember it.
Well, me too.
From
you
my
should
Reformation
be ashamed.
days. But anyway, so the whole thing was you could just do this instead of obeying. You could just do this instead of heart change. I'm just going to pay this thing to kind of take care of all this. And in one sense or another, that's kind of the way a lot of modern Christians live. They do these things, either give something or they show up every Sunday or they work on something, but they're not really...
Their heart's maybe not in it.
The heart is the issue, and the heart is the difficult thing. And
it's easier to show up somewhere and give your money than to forgive somebody.
Yeah, and we do live in a kingdom or relationship or in a spiritual relationship that is heavily based on grace and heavily based on help. And I do ask for help a great deal in prayer and saying, okay, this is bigger than me and I need you to do something for me I can't do for myself, and on and on and on. But at some moment in time, I'm going to have to make a decision. At some moment in time, I'm going to have to, as Jesus would say, deny myself. Yeah. And the thing about denying ourselves is it sucks. The thing about denying ourselves is it's really, really difficult. It's very difficult to hold your tongue. It's very difficult to not be envious of the people around you. It's very difficult to give the person who's highly annoying and very awkward the time that they need in a moment. Yeah. It's very difficult to not just get on with your to-do list and to be aware of other people around you. Yeah. And all those things. It's difficult to not give in to the world system about appearances or about wealth or about all those things. And so there is a moment where we have to meet the teachings of Jesus. Mm-hmm. We have to see that they are not just true, but then we have to apply them in our own lives.
Yeah, like my gram would say, not about following Jesus' teachings. God bless her.
That was not her strength. That was not a strong point.
No, that was not. She had she's in heaven having a good time now, and she had a lot of good qualities. But anyway, she would say, well, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Yes.
And that's exactly it.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing for us to say that we have things that we believe and show up at church or, volunteer or work for a nonprofit or do those things. But that's where the rubber meets the road is if you're willing to, when somebody wrongs you and makes you feel crazy for 24 hours, if you're going to let that go and continue to treat them the right way. Yes. And it's hard. And I feel like sometimes we do it, and sometimes we do not. Well,
and we've talked about this before. When back in the '90s, and our church experience at that time was, it was kind of the first really big church, mega church that we had in our community, and we were part of that. And we had the big room and the TV screens and the coffee shops and the
first worship rock band.
Oh man, and it was a big, big deal. And then. With all credit to your dad, he kind of started getting a sense that, no, this is changing. Yeah. What we've been doing, and even in a sense, what we're known for, that's all been great up to this point. But now I just feel like something's changing, and we need to move with that change. We need to move with this inspiration that's in us, and it's that inspiration that got us to this place. Yeah. Now this inspiration is saying, okay, let's do things a little differently. So let's not do the mega services. Let's not do this. Let's start also getting out of the building a whole lot more and getting people into the city where they can actually go and do good and be a part of that.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
pretty
people who had
interesting.
been with us, at that point for maybe 20 years really began to lose their minds.
Yeah.
And the problem was it's like we were like a cafeteria. They came, they ate, they left.
Yeah.
And that's
And
what
they
they
liked
liked.
how it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when we started saying, I'm sorry, this is really about you. This is about the people who are in need, and we really need to step up. We've
Yeah.
been taking in all this goodness for so long.
Let's do something with that.
Now it's time for us to do something with it. And
Yeah, it was really interesting thinking back on that because my dad's heart and my mom's as well has always been to reach, I hate the term, but like the unchurched or people.
Yeah,
I told
right.
somebody last night I was singing at a retirement home. It was a hot gig, but no, I'm kidding. It paid well. No, the truth is I love
Yeah.
the people. They're super sweet. But they were trying to understand now, is your dad still a minister? It's really hard to describe to somebody that's
Yes.
89 what is going on. But I said, his heart, and I told him his heart has always been to reach people who aren't comfortable in traditional church. And so we had all those years of building something that was really modern, and it did reach a lot of people. And then the people got comfortable in that, and that became its own thing.
Right.
And then when it was like, well, now how else might we reach other people that wouldn't be
Yes.
comfortable in church now?
Right.
And that required some work and some effort and some uncomfortableness. Is that a word?
uncomfortability?
Uncomfortability? I don't know.
It
It's been a
works.
long
Yeah.
December. A lot of people were out.
and it really was, a case of what we're talking about. We were saying, okay, well, we've read this stuff. We believe these teachings. We believe that these teachings are true. And these teachings are asking us to do this. And people said, no, I don't want to do that. I do want to come here and have the great music and feel good about myself and check
Yes.
this off the list. I don't really want to be scrutinized in my heart and have to consider other people as more important than myself and do these things.
It's the Jesus-y stuff where the rubber meets the road,
Yeah.
as Graham would say.
So,
It's hard.
As Jesus would say, the idea of forgiving, but not just forgiving, but forgiving from the heart.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I have to get quiet. I have to get honest with myself and say, am I forgiving from the heart or not? And then also, especially in that season, we talked a lot about grace and, this, that, and the other. So this idea of, well, it's okay, I'm covered by grace. So I can kind of live the way I want to live. I can kind of do what I
I can
want to do.
still be a jerk.
I can do all that because I got grace. Well, yes and no. I mean, there's a moment where that stuff runs out. And, as Paul would say, don't be a fool. Whatever it is we plant, that's what we're going to grow.
Right.
So if you continue to plant greed and you continue to plant
Complaining.
lust and you continue to plant grievance and all that stuff, well, that's coming.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah, and you see that happen. You see that happen in people's lives, and it's sad. You don't wish that on them, but you think, oh, there it is.
Yes.
And on the other side of what we're talking about, it is hard to do what Jesus does, but the alternative is not having peace in your heart and in your life. I mean, it sounds, here we are saying it's really hard, but, we've done it. I've done it both ways. I've had times where I did not do the right thing and I was not okay in my heart.
I was going to bring that up.
Oh, shut up. You have. But yeah, so it really is sort of like the key and the answer. And it does overall end up being worth it because of the peace and the joy and the okayness that comes in your heart and mind because of it. It seems so. We're saying, I mean, that's really hard to do a lot of times what Jesus is teaching, but I prefer that. I prefer the end result. It's sort of like it's going to be hard either way.
Yeah.
So you can choose like humbling yourself and trying to do what Jesus would do immediately, or it's going to get really hard when you reap that unforgiveness and you reap that not getting grace from other people. I mean, it's going to be later and greater. It's going to be bigger. So I'd rather let's get this done now and do the hard thing right now.
Yeah. And we've talked about, even specifically with forgiveness, we've talked about that. It's never quite as easy to forgive as it is in the immediate thing. But once you let it grow, once you let it set in, once you rehearse it, once you replay it over and over and over again, and it gets set in and it becomes part of your identity, that becomes a lot more difficult to let go of.
That is so true.
But there's a moment, it might not be in that exact minute, but in the nearness of that injury, in the nearness of that grievance, that's the place to say, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to have to do this now.
Yeah.
Because later it will be more difficult.
It'll be harder. The longer that you let it grow.
Yeah, there's some moments where time helps and some of that and gives you some perspective.
For
and
sure.
so I get all that part of it. But as a general rule.
Yeah. And also, I mean, we talk about forgiveness often because it's probably the main tenet of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean excusing people for poor behavior. It doesn't
Right.
mean staying in abusive situations. It's not that. Forgiveness is, I feel like, looking at your own heart and letting that go.
Right.
And a lot of times it's for your own. Middle school kids talk a lot about mental health, which is actually a really good thing.
Yes.
But Anton's always like, well, this isn't good for my mental health. I'm like, I think you're maybe not understanding that. It's funny
you're
though.
not good for my mental health.
Being 14
You're making
is
me lose my mind.
Exactly. But that's it for your own peace, and the faster that you can do that. I mean, I was thinking we had a situation recently where there was a family member that sort of, I guess, did something that was really actually sort of accusatory toward us. It was odd. And this person was having a really tough time, and we knew that emotionally.
Right.
And but yet it really kind of came out of the blue, especially because I feel like we've done a lot to show love and grace and continue to stay in a relationship in this situation. And man, I tell you what, it got to me. You were able to forgive quicker than I was on that. And
that's what I do.
Forgiveness is a process too. You can wake up the next day and have to keep forgiving. It's not this magic pill.
Most of the time with me, is especially on big things, forgiveness is a multiple episode thing.
It took me more. I had some fantasy conversations, and
it's like a season, like a reoccurring season show. So just one movie, it's a whole season.
It's like, oh crap, you're back.
Oh, it's another episode. Okay,
oh,
let me
great,
just
here we
do
go.
this again.
Yeah, and then you see the person the next time, you're like, well, shit, here it is again. But you got over it quicker than I did. It took me a couple of days. But then sometimes for me, I almost have to mark it with a letting go or a specific action.
Yes.
So this helps me, like, especially if it's something I've been struggling with. So for instance, in this particular case, I know that this person, in essence, kind of wrote us off. Basically, like, I'm done with you. So, but I've already purchased a Christmas gift for them, and I had already planned a couple of sweet things that I was going to do. So to me, naturally, you'd think, well, they're done with us. I'm done. I'm going to bless them or whatever and let it go. But I will be giving those gifts to that person. I will be seeing that through because for me, it would be wrong not to. And I can, in essence, say in my heart, I'm going to finish this strong and I'm going to close this out so that perhaps when it's the right thing to do and I'm going to show them love and I need to do it physically by doing this. Yeah. And perhaps in the future, if they have any moment of clarity, they might look back and say,
yes,
they treated me well even in this conflict or whatever. But that's the kind of stuff that, like, we talk about the world system, which we don't really like that phrase because it's sort of a weird spiritual thing. But it's basically like that's the thing that everybody else living that is maybe not following Jesus would be like, man, you cut them off. Yeah. You're done with that. You don't give them the gifts. You find somebody else to give that to you, whatever, and you're out and you're done and you're clear, and that's your boundary. And there are places for boundaries, absolutely, but that's the hard stuff.
Yes,
that
it is.
Jesus is asking us to do. But I know if I didn't do that, that would bother me for a long time.
Yeah. But that is the thing. I mean, we have these teachings and I mean, we've gone over my favorite passage about 1,000 times, but this thing about Jesus saying, the vine and the branch, and this is remain in me and I will remain in you. And you're going to bear fruit, which means you're going to have this amazing life. And this is going to follow you naturally. And the way, he says, that you remain in me is by doing the teachings of Jesus. Yeah. And I wonder if, this thought or this conflict or revelation or whatever, insight that happened a couple of days might have been somehow a result of the fact that I've been reading the book of James.
You've been kind of reading it, like
we're seeing other people too.
Yeah,
but I
like this one. It's fine. There's some pretty good stuff in there.
I love this book, and most scholars believe that the writer of the book, James, is actually the brother of Jesus, which is interesting when you kind of read through the gospel and you look at the references to Jesus's brothers in the Gospels. They were kind of jackweeds, But then you get into the stuff later where James is kind of seeing what this whole thing was and now has context and the sincerity. His heart is very similar to the heart of John, and it's really powerful. And he writes what seems like a very simplistic letter, but what he writes and how he writes it is so clear. And so much of what he is saying is, look, there can't be a separation between what we read and what we know to be true and what our actions are. And if your actions are not following this, then you really don't have a part. Now, this is James who's saying, look, if you say you love God but you hate people, then you're lying to yourself. Right. You don't love God. Right. This is James saying, look, if you read the scriptures and you read the truth and yet you don't put it in any action, then you're like an idiot that looks in the mirror and then turns away and forgets what they look like. Yeah. It doesn't matter if we're not doing anything with this. And in such a gentle and loving way, he's calling everybody on the carpet and saying, look, you can't do one with the other. You can tell me, yes, I'm a believer. I will tell you, watch my actions and you'll know that I'm a believer. Right. You can tell me that you believe these things and have this faith, and I will tell you, look at my life and it will tell you that I have this faith. Yeah. And so,
I mean, we see people all the time that would claim to be Christians or followers of Jesus, and yet I know some people who say they're atheists that act and do more like Jesus than these other people. Right. It's interesting. No judgment to anybody specific. I just mean we've all seen that. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, if I love you, which I do, I'm going to
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. I'm going to help you do the things that are important to you. Yeah. And I'm going to,
you do.
And I do.
Yeah.
And you do that for me. And if you love your children, you're going to help them do the things that matter to them and learn about those things and have those opportunities. I think it's the same thing. It's like, I remember you saying that you had this experience when you were praying one time, maybe, 15-ish years ago or something, where you felt like you heard God say, if you aren't going to learn to love people more, this is about as far as we can go. Right. And that's what it reminds me of, because Jesus is about loving people. Yeah. And if we don't want to get over ourselves enough to do that, then we're really not doing what Jesus asked. Right. And that's a daily choice for all of us, and it's hard sometimes.
Well, and that's the answer to the question. So many people will pray, I want to know Jesus more. Yeah. I want to be closer to Jesus. Well, the simple process of that is to do the teachings of Jesus. Yeah. Not in a heavy-handed way, not in a works kind of way, not in a beat yourself up kind of way, but if you want to be closer to Jesus, then do the things that are close to Jesus. And those are his teachings. Those are his commands. That's it. So part of that in what you're referencing is, loving people. And when I heard that in my heart and mind, or the download, the matrix download in my brain, and I decided, okay, well, that's a choice for me. And then I decided, well, if you're saying that and that's important to you, then it's important to me. I'm going to do that. And so since that moment, I have been intentional and conscious of doing that thing. And I will tell you that I do feel closer to Jesus now than any other time in my life. Yeah. It's certainly been more than the years before that. And I felt before that moment very loved by God. And I would love to just sit in that whole awareness of being loved by God. And that's just a wonderful place to be. Right. But from that moment on, of having that insight, that direction, hearing that phrase, I feel not just loved by God, but a part of God, a part of what he is doing. And that love is at a deeper level now because we're sharing in this.
You're working on it together. Yeah. You're loving people together.
I'm loving what he loves. And we have so much more in common together than we did even before that moment.
Yeah, it's like if you're dating somebody and you're trying to figure out, what it is they enjoy, and you realize that, they like to mountain bike or whatever, and you're like, screw that, I don't like mountain biking. Yes. But then because you love that person, you're motivated to say, take me mountain biking. And so you go and you end up liking it, and it's something that you do together. And I think loving people that's the heart of God.
Yes.
And those are the days when, and it doesn't have to be, we're dropping off Christmas gifts today, but that's just on a daily basis, just loving people and encouraging them little by little, finding little ways to tell them. I sang at the retirement home last night, and the guy who hires me to do that is so sweet. And as I was playing, I just watched him like serve everyone, and he's obviously a believer. He's never said that, but he's obviously a believer because I watched him serve, and he's a young guy. And then I started singing, and he was singing some harmony. I had him come over and sing with me. He was really brave. He has a beautiful voice. Anyway, my point is, I watched him do that, and today when I emailed to thank him for having me, I just told him, hey, I just want you to know that I've seen you. And he was so sweet with his family and the way he served. Let me get you a napkin. Let me do this. And that comes from the fact that he loves Jesus. And you could see that. And it was precious. It was a precious example to me.
Well, and it is, again, this thing we talk about, which is the teachings of Jesus make you look good.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be around the person that's like Jesus. So, what is Jesus? Well, Jesus is complimentary. He's kind. He prefers others. He makes other people feel better.
He's generous.
He tells people the good things they see in him. He's generous. He pays the tab. He does all the stuff.
Yeah.
And he's forgiving, and he's, relentlessly, good and joyful and all those things. Yeah. And he helps bear other people's sadnesses, and he's empathetic and all those things. And if you think about your best friends, that they have a lot of those qualities.
Yeah, that's why you like being around them.
So that it is true that the teachings of Jesus make us look good if we just do them.
What would you say in this, as we head to the end of the holiday season, what are some ways that you could encourage people, or we could encourage people to take steps to, perhaps in the new year, that's something, that people may want to start trying to follow some of Jesus' commands? I mean, how would you encourage people to get started on that if they want to see more of that in their life?
I think it starts with awareness and an intentionality to it, and the idea of saying, okay, this is important to you, so it's going to be important to me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, without putting heavy burdens on myself or becoming rigid about it, I just want to make this effort. And so I think asking for help for that, saying to God in your, the moments when you're having conversations with him, hey, I really want to do more of this. I really want to do these things. And so I'm going to make an awareness, so that you might have to make yourself a note that you see every morning. You might leave it in your car or something like that, but something that will jog your memory, and keep that in front of you. But I think it doesn't take much to start creating that awareness. And then you will find yourself at the coffee shop, or you'll find yourself at work, or you'll find yourself in the meeting, or you'll find yourself with your family, and something will naturally come into your brain like, oh, I should be quick to listen to this person and not so quick to tell them my opinion. Oh, this is that moment where I have to choose to forgive someone. Oh, this is that moment where I just need to be grateful for what I have without running to see what else I can get. Whatever those things are.
I was thinking of when Jesus does what's, I think, traditionally known as the Sermon on the Mount, and it's the Beatitudes. I mean, you can look at that and say, blessed are the weak, and they shall, you can, I think it's sort of looking, you can actually look in the Gospels, and if you have a red letter edition Bible, or if you go online and say words that Jesus actually spoke, and there's some pretty clear directives in there. You could pick 2 or 3 of those that you'd like to ask God's help to be better at. It's not about us like buckling down, like I'm really going to be Jesus-y, because that doesn't really work. But asking God for his help and awareness in that each day, and saying, where's the good that I can do today? I mean, if you start by trying to do that, even when you're feeling crappy, those opportunities will come, and it'll become, I think, more of a lifestyle.
This reminds me of a couple of years in there where I was, you and I were running, and then I decided I was going to try and do some long runs, and your dad was a runner, so
back when we ran.
Oh man,
I hate running.
Yeah.
God bless
my favorite
the runners.
my favorite thing about running was having run.
Yeah. And then being able to be like, what'd you do today?
Well,
A
it
12-hour
felt
long
great
run.
after you ran, but the entire time I was out there, I was like, God, I hate this.
I know, me too. Everyone always talked about the runner's high.
I never got a high. I had the runner's hangover a lot.
I did cry once during a race, so that was good. Ask my dad that story.
But I remember that, so on some of the long runs and stuff, I would do that with your dad because your dad actually
did love running.
Is and was a great runner and had a lot of experience running and all that stuff. And so I thought, well, this will help, and he can train me in some of these things. And so we would do longer runs, and we would do hill training and stuff like that. And
on hills.
On the hills.
I thought you said heel training.
No,
I was
hill training.
You could use your whole foot.
And occasionally we would get into some places on late in runs, when you're tired or, you're going uphill and it's really, really difficult. And then he would just say, hey, just letting you know, this is supposed to be hard. This part's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah. And so, the idea of imagining yourself on a cross or carrying a cross or denying yourself, that's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't be surprised. The fact that it's hard doesn't mean you're doing it wrong and you should quit. The fact that it's personally uncomfortable to deny yourself doesn't mean we shouldn't do it.
Right.
And it doesn't mean you're not living by grace. It doesn't mean, all those things. It just means it's supposed to be that. Mm-hmm. And there is a truly wonderful part of that sacrifice when we choose God or we choose Jesus over ourselves.
Yeah.
When we choose loving somebody else in a self-sacrificing way, so over ourselves again. And there really is no escaping that in this life if we want to follow the teachings of Jesus and be connected to him and live this life in a full way.
Yeah.
That quote-unquote abundant life, well, that comes from doing the teachings of Jesus and being a part of that.
And since you brought up crucifixion, Merry Christmas.
Merry
That's
Christmas
tough. But no, I always love the scripture that said that it was for the joy set before him that Jesus endured the cross.
Yeah.
And so if we're to follow him, even when we're doing things that are hard, there is a joy that comes from doing that. And when we endure hard things, the result of that will be joy. Yeah. Usually shortly after, and then hopefully eventually a lot of it.
Yes.
But that's the cool thing is it's not just, hey, these things are hard, you've got to do them.
Right.
It's, hey, this is a better way. This is the abundant, fuller life.
Yeah, so there hasn't been anything easy about learning to love others or deny myself or deny ourselves or to learn to forgive or to choose to forgive and all those things. But I would not change or trade where we are in life right now and the relationships we have. And man, it's so much fuller and richer and deeper and more wonderful than it was before. And it's also, you and I were having this conversation maybe a couple of weeks ago where we say, you have this experience where every once in a while, most of what we're doing is just putting our heads down and getting through. And you're just living your life.
Just like everybody.
It's just a day-to-day thing. And then occasionally you'll get something, and it's like the camera pulls back a little bit. And you get to see a broader picture before and after. And you realize, oh, this is one of those kind of important moments. Or, oh, this is one of those things that really means something. Like even with our daughter, occasionally you'll have an experience and think, oh, this is that thing she's going to hold on to later in life. And she'll say, oh, that time you said X, Y, or Z, that was really important to me. And so we've been having more and more of those lately, and you do start to say, oh, okay, well, we've been to a lot of funerals and we've been to a lot of places, in that scenario, and the people that we value, the people whose funerals we go to that are almost always the more prescient and amazing and all that, are the people who are celebrated by the people in attendance, and they all feel like they have something special with that person. Yeah. They will all tell you, oh, this is how I knew him. This is how I knew her. And then they'll just rattle off these stories. The next person will come up and it'll be a whole different environment. This was what it was like growing up with her in school. This is what it was like working with her. This is what it was like seeing her at the grocery store. This was like working out with her. And everybody thinks they have something special with that person. Yeah. And more and more, I feel like the camera widens out in different scenarios. And I think, oh, this is how that person would say they know me. Yeah. This is how that thing. I'm not trying to, it's not a bragging thing. It's just like, oh, this is working.
Yeah.
This is actually happening.
I think it's perhaps one of the only good things about getting older that I found so far.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that, and maybe it is the camera widening out. You're able to pull back in those moments of quiet and see the breadth of your work. Some of the fruit of your labor.
Yeah.
You're able to see a little bit about it, and it's encouraging.
Even with these kids packs, and I know you do this too, you have this imagination thing where you send out the kids packs, and then you start to see, oh, this is what it'll be like for this kid to get this gift. This is what this gift is going to communicate to this kid. Yes. This is what is going to happen when they get this home. And
that's the joy that's set before us on all the work it takes to get those done.
Yeah.
And same with the people that come help us put all those together.
Yeah.
Is you can see that joy that's going to be there. And that's why we do that for those kids and for us.
And I know it's that way when when you write a song, you think about that. You think about the listener. You think this is going to communicate something to this person. When I'm writing, when we did our movie, 15 years ago, Lovetown, I remember sitting there editing. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to trim this frame and do these things here and do this here and here. And this is, I could just see this person watching this and what this is going to communicate to them and what this is going to help them with. And then it did and it didn't for a lot of people. But you see that sacrifice in your mind and what that means.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's really special. So,
speaking of good moments that you have with 14-year-olds, last night when I was singing at this retirement place, it's older people. A lot of them have memory problems.
In the retirement place? That's odd.
And understandably, our daughter was not feeling going. She's got finals and a lot of pressure and work at school to end of her semester. And then, she's in the throes of teenagehood.
Yes.
And we drug her around to something every night.
Yes.
And so she had to go again. And I asked if she'd want to sing. And she was having an attitude problem at that time, but we worked on it.
So were we.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing. But I reminded her, I tried not to be too heavy-handed, but after things softened and she was in a better place, I said, she was worried about a song sounding a certain way, which is understandable. You got to stand up and sing. I don't feel like I can sing well. And I said, remember, singing and bringing music isn't about the way that we feel. I was like, I understand sometimes, you're worried about the way it's going to sound or this and that. I said, but it's about those people. Yeah. This may be some of the only Christmas joy that they get. And I think she was kind of gave me a, understandably, but man, as soon as we got there and she saw the people and saw the joy that they were going to have just from seeing her help me on those few songs, she was into it, man.
Yes.
She passed out the reindeer antlers and the hat and did the whole thing. And it was as sweet as can be because that's who she really is. And that's who we really are. That's what we want to do.
And that is the kind of obscene byproduct of this whole thing, which is we make this choice to obey these teachings, to do the right thing by other people, to help other people and deny ourselves for other people. And then we end up getting this content high from the whole thing.
It was. I mean, we got home and we were energized. It was so sweet. There was a lady there that, oh my gosh, she was dancing with her walker. It was the funniest thing. I mean, I kind of do jazzy versions of Christmas carols. And then this other lady got up and I was just afraid they were going to topple over, but the workers were like spotting them behind and they were dancing. This one lady was a better dancer with a walker than I am not with a walker. I mean, it was like Christmas broke out. Yeah. It was like God's presence just shows up the last 15 minutes of what you're doing. And I know that I won't forget that. And Evangeline won't ever forget it because it was that cool, you know, but we were turd heads getting ready to go over there, but that's it, you know?
Well, let me just tell you, Mystics, if you're listening now, that if you find yourself in a hard place, you know, and doing the teachings of Jesus has gotten difficult.
Especially this Christmas season.
Let me just tell you that in many cases it's supposed to be hard. This is difficult, you know, and that's just the way that part of it is, but it's incredibly sweet and incredibly profitable when you do make that sacrifice and you do those things the right way. And maybe no one else will ever see it, and that's okay. I get that, but it really matters. And so we'll also tell you,
keep on keeping on.
Yeah, that we love having this conversation with you. We love the Mystics podcast and being able to be open and honest and have all these really engaging conversations. And I love having this conversation with you.
Oh, you're trying to get bonus points on the way out here.
No, it's just, the way we do the podcast is usually recorded sometime in the middle of the week, and you have to kind of stop what the stuff you're doing.
The busyness of the day.
Which is okay. We love this thing, but whatever difficulty it is to get here in that moment, it's always wonderful to be with you and have these conversations. And I think you're really smart. And
stop.
but it's so nice to be able to do this. And we have joked that, even if no one else was listening, we would still have the conversations. And the reality is we do. I mean, we have conversations like this at the house and stuff all the time. And we have other conversations, stupid conversations too. But I really appreciate the fact that, we get to do what we do, and it allows us to have these conversations.
Me too. And starting the Mystics podcast will probably be on the highlight of this year for us, on the highlight list
absolutely.
For sure. It's been really good. And we appreciate all you guys who listen and share this with other people. And it really means a lot to us. So we hope you guys have a super awesome Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy
and please
holidays.
Do us a favor if you can. Go ahead and write a little review about the podcast, because that helps it get seen more, and give a little star rating or something like that.
Yeah, just a 1 or 2 sentence review. It doesn't take much.
As many stars as they'll allow you is fine. Whatever you want to do.
18 stars and best thing I've ever listened to.
Just simple things like that.
Sure.
If you need help writing it, just let us know. We'll send you something.
We'll send you a review of us.
Until then, go back, listen to some of the other episodes. It's really fun to go back and listen to that and listen to the regression and all that kind of stuff. But have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year, and we will see you in that New Year very, very soon.
That's right. See you soon.
Peace out.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, share it with a friend. And check out Pioneer Dream's other podcast, Dreamers Live, a conversation about living intentionally. And Got a Minute? A podcast that pairs short humor columns with original music. This podcast is a presentation of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for our corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners. Thanks for listening.